Hiyoho Hamaroika Nananhitsa Yubani. My name is Autumn Dawn Gomez. I'm Comanche in Taos Pueblo. I live in Poegeh, Owingeh, also known as Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm an artist. I'm a birth worker. I also work with young people's education around body sovereignty. And I'm also a founding member of the Three Sisters Collective.
Hioku, my name is Dr. Christina M. Castro. I am Jemez Pueblo, Taos Pueblo, Chicana, and Achaman. I'm also a couple other things. I'm a mother, scholar, an activist, educator, public speaker, etc., etc. I live in Poegeh, Owingeh, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and am also a co-founder of Three Sisters Collective, along with a third co-founder, Autumn Billy, who is Taos Pueblo, Acoma Pueblo, and Dene. She's busy in school, so she hasn't been able to participate in these recent murals we've been working on. But we like to say what we do in Poegeh is a combination of arts, education, activism, and community building. We do all kinds of work, right? I don't even know. You want to jump off on some of the things that we do?
Really, Three Sisters was began to create a safe space for Indigenous women, femmes, and their family, and their families in this town that is very extractive of Indigenous people, culture-wise, labor-wise. And some of the things that we have focused on are the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous relatives in Poegeh and in northern New Mexico. We highlight gentrification, we highlight mutual aid, and of course our artwork as well.
Yeah, we really like to support and elevate local artists. And we host educational programming too. With COVID, we've moved our programming to virtual or online. And a recent event we hosted was a webinar on the legacy of Kit Carson from an Indigenous perspective. As we do grassroots activism work as well, and pushing our city to be accountable to Indigenous people whose homelands Santa Fe is built on. So that looks like advocating for the removal of racist monuments in this town. That looks like calling out businesses that are racist or not welcoming to Indigenous people. That looks like educating allies about how to be in good relationship with place and Indigenous people. And we collaborate with other organizations and entities, and from nonprofits to grassroots groups who are also doing work around MMIW and also doing work around, for example, self-defense. We've hosted self-defense classes. And when I think about the issue of MMIW, I think about all the ways in which folks are advocating, whether it's legislatives, whether it's groups like the Coalition to Stop Violence Against Native Women, or missing and murdered indigenous Dene relatives, bringing attention to missing people in the Navajo Nation. There's all these different arms of engagement, whether it's direct support to victims and families, or trying to shift policy around getting monies to do more work, to combat the things that make our community susceptible to instances of MMIW. So one thing I think about is, if you look at the history of colonialism and all the ways that the tools that they use to break down a people, it's always the breaking down of the family structure, whether it's boarding school, relocation program in the 50s through the 70s, removal off the land into a reservation. All of that, at the root of it, it's a breakdown of family and community. So I see our work as an organization is really in building community, building women, building women's power, efficacy, knowledge base, support system, sisterhood, to strengthen women and to strengthen mothers, and that ultimately strengthens communities. So it's one way that we address the issue of MMIW from a grassroots level. And we also do it creatively through art, through music. We also made a CD, spirit line woven for our missing and murdered indigenous relatives, bringing together Native musicians in this area to create music around the theme of MMIWR, and also spoken word artists and snippets of conversations between Native women. And that's all a part of the CD that we created, and we funneled the resources that we made from that CD to a group that advocates for Indigenous women.
WMMIR. Most recently, we've been granted, or we've been working with Mural Arts Philadelphia on beautifying Poegeh with Indigenous public art, mainly in the form of murals. So this is definitely a community activity where we can be intergenerational. We have very small humans working on our murals. We have teenagers, up and coming artists, and young people who are interested in the arts and interested in community. We have our adults, our young adults, our parenting adults, middle-aged adults, older adults, people who are just interested in general. And honestly hoping to get some more elders out painting with us and interested in our artwork as we further our community art and farming too, right?
Yes. So we recently also collaborated with our brother organization, Alas de Agua, to build full circle farms on the historic Southside Agua Fria district, formerly Etewa Pueblo, to start a farming project. And at the farm, we're growing all kinds of great stuff, from traditional local varieties to things like kale and spinach, and hopefully an herb garden too. And as a part of our projects with Mural Arts Philly, we're creating big art panels throughout the farm to highlight different things that we think are important. Most recently, we worked on 2 murals with Saba. Sorry, my dad was knocking on the door, Saba, so we're gonna pick up with our farm project in collaboration with Alas de Agua Art Collaborative here in town to start a farm, full circle farm. We have some awesome murals going up there as a part of our collaboration with Mural Arts Philly as well, highlighting ideas or images or themes that we're still coming up with. But we did start 2 murals on the farm. There's other murals, but they weren't ours. They weren't Three Sisters driven. And they, oh my God, you're going to have to edit me. Okay, so we did 2 murals this past weekend with Saba Randy from Las Cruces. He came up to help us, mentor us, teach us, and create some badass art with us. And so we did 2 panels this weekend, brought in some youth to help. And so one side of the mural is facing the inside of the farm, and one side is facing the street as you pass. And so the one on the inside is a homage to place, Poegeh, Owingeh. There's some imagery of local landmarks. Yeah. And there's a frog, because frogs are synonymous with water. There's some traditional Pueblo-style structures. And we had a young woman, Joycelyn, age 14, doing the lettering, which was dope.
Yeah, it was really dope to have a young Tewa person work to do like graffiti style in their own home language and like one of their own home communities. That was really beautiful to see.
And then the other side.
The other side was done with regards to this project that we're working on between the borders. What's the event called? I'm sorry.
Pictograff.
It's with the Pictograff event going on more south of here, but still, as we were talking about and working on our murals, we were talking about the connection of our Pueblo people here and our indigenous relatives to the south of the border, and how these roads, though made infamous by Spanish people and trading and such, they're actually much more ancient than that. So with regards to our relationship with indigenous people of Mexico, we have been working on creating art that acknowledges the epidemic of femicide and our missing and murdered indigenous relations all across Turtle Island, honestly, and beyond.
We're hoping to start doing more collaborative work with our sisters in Juarez on the other side of the border, and really start to collaborate to address this issue transnationally. So shout out to those sisters down south doing the work that we're doing here. I know it's probably worse there. And we just want them to know that we are in solidarity with them, and we hope to engage further in the coming years in the movement, the rematriation of the Americas.
Yeah, I believe that it's like all of our struggle. It's not limited to countries or tribal nations either. Some of the imagery, though, in the mural, I wanted to use like a red in the neck culture, like a red sani scarf. So these scarves are known to be worn by, like in your traditional clothes, or they can be worn like in a contemporary way. But also we use them for dances in the pueblos, and like this like floral motif is like really popular in indigenous communities all over the world. So I wanted to use that, especially with regard to just like violence that women have faced recently, and also like I don't think slogan is like the right word, but the words was it ni una más, ni una menos, and really tying that in, so that all of our indigenous nations, at least in this area, can be recognized and represented.